And we are recording. Excellent. So good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for being here and for bearing with our technical difficulties trying to get it posted online. But absolutely, looking forward to a really great day. Today's class is about setting goals that matter. And when we talk about setting goals that matter, it's really, and a lot of the time, we don't even really know how to set our goals. And especially, once we do set a goal, we don't necessarily know how to put together the actions that's going to make us achieve those goals. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is not only setting goals, but coming up with a way and a systematic method in order to be able to stay on track with their goals every day and every week. All right. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to open it up to you guys. I want to hear who'd like to share something about something that they're grateful for so far in this learning journey. Talk to me about some gratitude.
Well, good morning. I am personally grateful for starting from square one training, because I know that most people a lot of the people with Keller Williams are, they're seasoned realtors. Me, I am absolutely new, and with this whole shifting of the economy along with the COVID, I'm grateful that I'm learning fresh, brand new along with this. So this is, so I have nothing to compare with past experience. So this is extremely new, and I don't have anything to switch my mind or switching gear. I'm just learning it, so this is my walk, my experience. So I'm hoping that 2 years from now, and no, I am going to say 2 years from now, excuse me, let me retract, that I was one of the people that survived the shift.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Shift plus COVID.
And you know what? Don't worry about the fact that you got into real estate during at the very beginning of a shifting market. Some of the best agents in the company or even in this industry got into the market during a shifting market. And what happens is you learn to do things while times are tough. Right? So you're learning things the hard way. So that way, when things get easier, when the market rebounds and sellers and buyers are just coming out of the woodworks left and right to you, all you're doing is just going to take more and more and more market share. All right. So you're learning the good habits now, and that's awesome. Okay. You're going to see a lot of times in a shifting market, Gary Keller says a shifting market will reveal the frauds. Right. Shifting market, you'll have the agents that were kind of just like waiting for business to come to them. They're going to end up getting out of the business because what was working in a good market is not going to work in a shifting market. All right. So, we're going to see who's successful in this business or not. And if you can survive through a shifting market, you're definitely going to do great things when the market rebounds. So excellent. What else? Anyone else have any? I'd like to hear something. Tell me what you're grateful for so far.
Hi, this is Keisha. During this time or previously, I did not take advantage of the morning calls with John going into the office, but because it is on Zoom, I'm on there every day. Mm-hmm. And while I'm on there, I'm taking a walk. So I'm taking a page out of John's book. I've been walking for an hour every day since last week, Wednesday.
Okay, excellent. You have Alan's out walking right now, right? But that's excellent. And believe it or not, Keisha, I'm in the same boat. I didn't take advantage of John's morning role play, the script and group coaching as often as I should have had. And ever since I've been here at the house, I've been on every single one of his morning calls. All right, and it's just tremendous value. So excellent. What are you guys excited about? I want to hear something. What are you guys excited about right now? I know there's a lot of uncertainty in the air, but what are you guys excited about today?
I really, for me, it's been I tell you good because, I was feeling like overwhelmed with everything we have to learn and everything I have to do to get ready. And, this time has been like really great for me because I think now I'm taking the time to do the things that I need to do, that I wanted to do. And I don't know, I really think that after all this coronavirus pass, it's going to be a great time for real estate.
I think so also. I really do.
I feel good that I'm taking the time to get ready for that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excellent. I think also that when the market rebounds, I believe that the market's going to rebound in a strong way. Right now, there's a pause on life right now, all across the world, and in the market and so forth. And there's, with interest rates so super low, there's pent up demand. There's a lot of pent up demand of people waiting to buy or waiting to sell. And maybe this is me thinking pie in the sky or Pollyanna. But I do think that once things start to go back to a little bit more normal, that there is going to be a surge in business. But I said this every day on every call that we've been in so far. Those sales are going to happen regardless, and they're going to happen to the agents who are staying in touch with their contacts and staying in touch with their database and walking past little old ladies with their dogs and getting their contact information. Right, that's gonna happen, and they're the ones that's going to be taking that market share when the market does rebound. All right, so I just can't stress enough how important it is right now just to call up our people and just say, how you doing? What's going on? What can I help you with? All right. Let's see. Someone asked online, are we going to share the PDF for today's lesson? And my answer to that is yes. And for some reason, Zoom is not working very well for me either today, because it's not allowing me to attach a file today. So I will make sure I get that out to you guys though. Okay. Excellent. So today we're going to do is focus on cultivating the leads that we have into seller opportunities. All right. Now we've seen this before. All right. This is what successful agents do every day. They do activities that's going to grow their business and activities that's going to run their business. Today we're going to focus on these areas right here. So lead generating for buyers and sellers, setting goals, attend training, and get into coaching. All right. Every day we lead generate for buyers and sellers. We got to remember that we got to do that every day. Now, just by being here today, you're getting the training and the coaching. Okay. So great job. You guys have been showing up and playing at a high level, and I absolutely love it. All right. So, and then next we're going to go into setting the actual goals for our business. Okay. So today we have two objectives that I'd like to have. Is one, I want for everyone here to set a meaningful goal. Okay, and it's not just, I want to make $100,000 this year, right? But I want you to set a meaningful goal, and we'll discuss how we're gonna do that. And then we're gonna complete what's called a 411, or at least I'm gonna give you guys the building blocks so that you can create your own 411. Now, we do have homework today, okay? And that homework is going to be, you're gonna create a 411 over the weekend. Right. And by Monday morning, I'd like for you to send me a copy of your 411. All right. And we'll explain what that's going to look like and how that's going to look and how that's going to work. But a 411, and we'll get into that in a few moments, that's going to be the accountability tool. And that's going to be not only for us to hold you accountable or your coach to hold you accountable, but it's also for you to hold yourself accountable to your role, your business, and what actually has to happen every day. All right. So we're going to ask a couple of big questions today. And this is some things I want you to think about. When we're talking about envisioning a big life, we're going to talk about a couple big questions. Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to go? What's your motivation? All right. Well, your long-term motivation. And last but certainly not least, how do we get there? Okay. And that's why this class is called Setting Goals That Matter. and creating goals that actually matters. All right. If your goal is tied to something you care about, that you truly care about, if it's something that will have a real effect on your life, if it's a goal that's achievable, you're going to hit your goal. We have to tie our goals into something that actually matters. And we'll talk about what envisioning a big life will actually look like. Has anyone ever read this book, The One Thing? If you haven't read this book, The One Thing, I strongly suggest you go out and get it. Oh, there you go. All right, I strongly suggest you go out and get this book, The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. It's an amazing book, and it's not just real estate. In fact, I don't know if it talks about real estate at all in here now thinking about it. But it's The One Thing, Surprisingly Simple Truths Behind Extraordinary Results. And what it is, it talks about taking your goals and actually setting goals and actually breaking it down into small manageable tasks and everything like that. But it's excellent. It's what's the one thing that you can do that's by doing such will make everything else easier or unnecessary. All right, but I definitely recommend you get this book. And a lot of what we're going to talk about today is actually come out of the One Thing. All right, so this quote comes out of The One Thing. Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we want to accomplish. So who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. Okay, so tell me about that. Tell me, what is this? What do you guys think about this quote here? Why is it important to set our goals?
Because we can easily get distracted and lose sight of the finish line. Sometimes even get derailed in that process, in that walk. Like for me, I remember growing up, I used to love to draw, and I was very good with drawing people and stuff like that. And life happened, and now you don't want to lose that passion. So that's why we have to always remember who we really are, not what life wants to tell us who we are, and never lose that determination. Just write it in front of you. Make your vision clear. I have my vision board right there. Every day I get up and I look at that vision board, So, okay, this is what I want to do. This is the restaurant. I want it to look like this. This is the reason why I want to open up the restaurant. And the real estate is going to make that happen. I want my own home too. I want my property to look like that, and I want to help people out there, especially broken women, from broken family. And that's my passion. That's my determination,
Yeah. Excellent. And you know what, Alan, were you gonna say something or?
Hey, sorry, I was just gonna say it's like setting the destination in the GPS and then having the roadmap and the pathway to how to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As realtors, I like to always say that as realtors, we're really good at setting goals. We're just really horrible at learning how to achieve those goals. All right. And it's exactly the same thing. If I want to get in my car and go on a road trip, oh my God, how great would it be to be able to get in our car and just go away right outside of our house right now? Anyhow, that's for a different day. But if we wanted to go on a road trip to Chicago, and if we just don't know how to get there, all we're going to do is just go up onto 95 North and somewhere make a left. We just don't know exactly where. We have to have some kind of path, some kind of plan, right? Now,
kind of like going to the gym.
Yeah.
If you want to hit a goal, you have to have a plan of action, and it's a daily practice.
Absolutely. You have to have a plan. And the funny thing is about this quote is the complete opposite of it is true as well. All right. If our activities don't have a guiding goal, like Griselda said, life is going to happen. We're going to get really, really busy, and we're not going to have a lot to show for it. There's a bold law that says don't confuse movement for achievement. Right. And I know a lot of people that are really, really, really busy realtors, but not successful or profitable realtors. There's a difference between being busy and being profitable. All right. Now, the mission of Keller Williams is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. None of those things just happen on their own. We have to be purposeful about setting our goals. We have to be purposeful about a plan of how we're going to achieve our goals. All right. And setting those goals that matter means doing work that actually matters. And when our work matters and we enjoy what we're doing, we tend to do more of it, and we do it really, really well. So we're going to talk, one of the things we're going to talk about today is not only setting goals that matter, but we're going to talk about attaching those goals and those activities to your big why. We're going to attach that to something emotional, something that actually matters. All right, now part of achieving goals is working hard. Now we can all agree that if you don't put in the time and effort, we're not going to get very far. So this graph right here is going to show time and effort and thinking. Now, if we put in a lot of time and a little bit of effort, we're going to get, and small actions, we're going to get small outcomes. But if we think bigger, and as real estate agents, a lot of us, many of us, we don't think big enough. And if we were to think bigger, we're going to end up having bigger actions. Bigger outcomes. All right, we're not going to get big outcomes from thinking small. Now, when we talk about thinking here, we're talking about thinking big when setting goals and thinking big on how to reach those goals. Now, you have to ask yourself, what are you doing? How do you do it? Who are you going to do it with? These answers can limit your outcome, or they can propel you forward. So one year I said to John Dietz, to my coach, he was asking me about my goals for the year. And I told him that my goal was to sell 25 homes that year. And John said to me, no, it's not. Your goal is to sell 32 homes. And I said, yeah, but I thought 25 was a stretch for me. So I thought 25 was a lot. He's like, no, you're going to do 32 goals. And he actually took my 401 and wrote 32 on there. And then I was like, why are you adding 7 more units to my thing? I only did 16 last year. Now you're telling me to go from 16 to 32. He goes, you're right. Let's make it 36. So he's kept changing my goals. And what I realized was that John wasn't trying to make me set a goal that was unrealistic. He was having me think bigger. John thought that I was thinking too small. So I did change my goal to 36, and I ended up selling, I think it was like 28 homes that year. But the bottom line is, if I sold 28 homes that year, and if I would have had an original goal of 25, I may have only sold 22, 20, maybe let's say I hit my goal, 25. By thinking bigger, John helped me to do better than I would have done on my own. But we need to think bigger. In the market center, right over the computers up there, is a big on the wall. It says in big letters, think bigger, think bigger, think bigger. Big actions get you big results. Thinking big gets you big results. So how big is your box? How big are we thinking? All right. If we're not thinking big, we're creating an artificial ceiling of achievement. And there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much that one person can do in those hours. So think about that. Are you thinking big enough? You're going to put in the time, you're going to put in the effort, but are you thinking big enough? Many new agents tend to limit themselves right away. Maybe they don't call their sphere and they hope business is just going to come to them. Maybe they aren't systematic about lead generation. Maybe they refuse to learn the scripts that would make their job much easier. And most of these agents don't stay in the business long because they're treating it as a job or not treating it as a business, or they burn themselves out because they're not seeing a good return on their time and effort. They want to do they want the big outcomes, but you can't get big outcomes without putting in the work. You can't get big outcomes without thinking big, and you can't, definitely not going to get it by not putting in the time. I was speaking with someone yesterday, and they were talking about, I think it was actually in this group actually, and the conversation was, I want to make sure I learn everything. I want to make sure I know everything about this business. I want to make sure I have everything ready so that I'm ready to go when I'm ready to get started. Right. And my thing was, don't wait until you know everything, because in this business, you're never going to know everything. You just have to start doing the activities, and you have to start doing the actions now. By saying I'm not ready yet, or I'm too new, or I didn't learn my listing presentation yet, you're putting that artificial ceiling of achievement on yourself. You know, we talked about the drunk monkey, and that drunk monkey, how it's going to whisper, all kinds of negative things in your ear. Okay. Think about what our self-talk, keep in mind what our self-talk is saying. What are we saying to ourselves? Okay. And are we thinking big, or are we thinking small? When we talk about goals, one of the questions I ask people is, tell me, how much money do you want to make this year? The very first question the very first thing they usually say is, how much money do I want to make this year? A realistic goal is, and I hate when people say realistic goal. All right. I don't like realistic goals. Many of you, including maybe even I'm sure I said it also before. All right. We all say that. Well, I want to set a realistic goal. And what I don't like about that is, a realistic goal means you're not thinking big enough. A realistic goal is not high enough. John Dietz, when he heard me say 25 homes that I want to sell that year, he saw that as a realistic goal. He didn't think that was being a stretch goal for me. He didn't think that was thinking big enough. He said, no, we're going to do 36. Okay. What I like to think is, instead of saying set a realistic goal, I like to say set an achievable goal. I had a conversation with my son yesterday. He's in college, and he's for all I know, he's probably on the outside of this door listening to what I'm saying right now. But I have a 19-year-old son over at in Central Florida. He's going to school over there, and he's having difficulties in one of his classes that he's taking, and his grade isn't where we want it to be, where I want it to be, or even where he wants it to be. And he was saying, this class is really hard. Everyone's failing this class, and this and this and that, blah, blah, blah. So I asked him, is there anybody in the class that's getting an A or a B in that class? Is there anybody? There's 200 people in this classroom. Is there anyone that's getting an A or B? He said, yeah, but not a lot of people. I said, so it's possible. All right. So it's possible that someone can get an A or a B in this class. So there, as a new agent, I know, we have some brand new agents on here, people that have agents that haven't done anything yet. Melissa Pabone, she's an amazing rock star in our market center. Within her first 60 days in our market center, she took 6 listings. Okay. So I'm going to ask you guys, is that possible? Is it possible to take 6 listings in your first month or first 2 months? 6. I've never carried 6 listings at one time before. All right. Is it possible? Yes. Not only has someone done it before, her name is Melissa Pabone. She's right there in our market center. You can reach out, you can talk to her, you can touch her, and I'm not touch anyone right now. But she's right there, and you can ask her, how did you do that? And she's going to say, I made the calls. I did the work. I thought bigger. I set high goals for myself. So her box, as we're looking at the screen, as far as for thinking bigger and putting in the time, the effort, and the activities, her box was really big. She was thinking big, and she got big outcomes from that. What do you guys think about this? Does this make sense about thinking bigger and bigger outcomes?
Absolutely. We limit ourselves, and sky is the limit.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. There is.
John, I just wanted to add one thing about Melissa. I
Yes.
did ask her one time, like, what does she do? And so based on this graph, Melissa's thinking was off the charts. When, you know, like you're supposed to do your 10-4 and try to set 2 appointments a day, her goal was set 4 appointments a day.
Mm-hmm.
So her thinking and her actions were through the roof, and therefore she got the results.
And the funny thing is, she still thinks like that. She still thinks that was what, 3 years ago, and she still thinks super, super, super big like that. She thinks bigger than a lot of other people out there right now. So excellent. There is. I'm looking for. I'm not being rude. Just looking down at my phone. There is in Keller Williams. We have a Rookie of the Year award, and that Rookie of the Year award is the person who is the top GCI earner in the market center. But we also have the top GC earner or Rookie of the Year, someone in their first year for the entire region. And then they also have it for international as well. I had to take this picture. Let me see. I don't know if you guys can see it there. I don't know if is it backwards or can you actually see that?
It's still on the thinking and time effort graph.
Yes, I could see a Rookie of the Year, Justin Orlando. Wow. 299.44 GCI.
Yeah, 290,944. $291,000 in his first year. That's in his first year. Now, this is an individual agent. Otherwise, it would say the Justin Orlando team. So as an individual agent, he did almost $300,000. All right. So again, is it possible? Yes, it's possible because someone already did it. Someone already did it. So let's talk about envisioning our big life. We're going to do an activity that's going to help you envision your big life. And once you have that vision in place, then from there, we'll be able to set meaningful goals that are going to bring you closer to that life. And then once we have the goals, then we'll talk about how to reach them. But it all begins with your vision. Okay? For everyone but Alan, because he's out walking, but for everyone, let's go back. I'm going to show you a little thing over here. Here we go. Does everyone see this? The circle with the 5 rectangles?
Yes.
Okay. Alan, I want you to do this later. All right. But for everyone else, I want you to grab a piece of paper and something to write with, and I want you to draw that diagram. Draw this picture right here with the circle in the middle, and I want you to draw the 5 rectangles. But you didn't know we were going to be doing art today, huh? All right. So on each of the 5 rectangles, I want you to write the name of a person or a cause that you really, really care about. A person or a cause. Maybe it's something that you're passionate about. You know, Brizelda mentioned women that come from broken homes. That's a cause that she may be passionate about. So that might be one of the things that might go in one of those boxes.
John, you could just go ahead and put Christian in every box.
Yeah, right. In mine, I have a 3.5-month-old baby right now. Right now, he's my big why. Right now, he's my big why. So I want you to put the name of a person or a cause that you care about in every one of these rectangles. And then what I'd like for you to do is I want you to think about what would you like to do for that person? What would you like to do for that cause? And that'd be an example would be like, maybe you want to, you want to be able to care for your parents as they age, or you want to send your kids to school without any debt, or you want to pay for a vacation for you and your wife, or you and your husband, or you and your best friend, or you by yourself, whatever. Maybe you want to be a named supporter for some kind of charity that, or serve on a board of a charity that you really care about. And don't forget that you can be one of those people you care about also. Don't be afraid to be a little bit selfish.
I was gonna say, can I put myself? Then I was like, good.
Absolutely. Put yourself on there. You know, perhaps that big life for yourself includes prioritizing your health, waking up earlier, right? Maybe prioritizing yourself so that you have more time and more energy to give. Maybe you're tired of paying that pesky student loan that we all hate, and you want to pay that off. Maybe you have too much debt. There's no wrong answers here. Now, once you have that, I want you to include an estimate, dollar estimate of how much you think that each action would cost. So if one of your things is paying off debt and you have $25,000 worth of debt, that's $25,000 there. If the other one is going on a vacation, 3-week vacation for you and your significant other, and that's going to cost $5,000, $10,000, that's the other box. It's $10,000. And then when you have all these boxes filled out with all the names and what you want to do for them and a monetary amount, then I want you to add all those numbers up and put that number in the middle, in that center circle. And what we're doing is we're quantifying what your big life will require financially.
Is this based on a year?
Based on whatever you want it to be. All right? It's based on whatever you want it to be. You know, whatever it is, think bigger. All right? Remember, there's no right or wrong answers with this. That's the best part. There's no right or wrong answers about this. Maybe you do break it down into a year and you say, I want to have all these things, but it's going to take me about 3 years to do that. And if it takes you 3 years to do that, great. Then that monetary number, slice that into thirds, and that's what you have to do each year. So think about how much a big life will actually, how much money you need in order to hit that big life. Now remember, some parts of the big life will require time as well as money. And remember, as business owners, that you're going to need to budget your time in terms of money as well. So talk to me. What are some numbers that you have here? I want to hear some things that you have in your rectangles, and I want to hear what that center goal is.
Well, for me, so I put a monthly stipend for my mother because she's retired. She doesn't pay rent anymore. My brother took over that. So I just wanted her to have her own monthly spending money, travel money, whatever she wants. So I was like, okay, you know what? How about $2,000 a month? You know, so you could do whatever you want, Mama, because she has been my rock and my support. And that's $24,000 a year. And the next one is, you know, the purpose for the restaurant that I want to open is so that I can, a lot of the proceeds can go to, like I said, women that came from broken homes, or even people that are struggling with drugs and alcohol. And I just wanted to have like a table in the restaurant where anybody that is homeless or hungry, they can always come and sit down and have a place to eat, like a civilized person, you know, not to be treated less than. And hopefully we can get help for that person from there and on.
Right.
So I put for that one, I guess I put $600, like the proceeds that can go to that. And my son, because I want to help and support his vision, so I put $50K.
Okay.
For myself, I put like a home, a car, educating myself further, so $450K. I'm thinking big. And for my church, I just want to make sure that I'm able to at least donate or give 500.
Excellent. Excellent. So what's that center number you have there?
So I have in total 536K.
536,000. Excellent. Excellent. Love it. Alan, I know you had mentioned you want to open up a restaurant. You want to open up a restaurant as well.
Yeah, my number is really big.
Okay.
It's like 8 million something.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice.
You know, I got the restaurant. I want to provide for my mom. She's been there my whole life. She's been providing for me the first part of my life, so I figured I could do for her the last part of her life.
Okay.
She's not there yet. She's got a long time to go, but
yeah.
You know, also want to, you know, provide for myself and my significant other, Ashley. You know, that's going to be quite a bit. And restaurants are expensive, so
They are.
it's a big number.
So let me ask you this: I understand giving back to your mom and for you and Ashley and everything, but tell me about the restaurant. What's important about having a restaurant?
You know, I've been cooking for 10 years now, and I just love making people happy with food. Seeing their face when I present the food to them, explain it to them, and then they eat it. It's nothing better.
Okay. Okay. And you know, and I love that you said your that number is 8 million. All right. How long before you want to have that? If you got to put a time frame on that.
10 years.
10 years. Okay. So then we're looking at about, what is that? $800,000 a year?
Roughly.
Roughly. Okay. Okay. So that number for you and Griselda, that goes back down to what you asked, is it a year? And it said it basically goes to what you want it to be. All right. In his case, that's a 10-year plan. All right. Your case, that might be a 1 or 2 year plan. Either way, if Justin Orlando can make $300,000 in his first year, there's absolutely no reason why you guys can't either.
So I'm just really excited about these two new restaurants that I'm gonna go and eat at.
Oh yeah, dude, we have the hookup at 2 restaurants.
I just want to make sure that we have like preferred seating and stuff like that.
Absolutely. VIP sections for KW family.
There you go.
Always.
There you go. So excellent. Well, that's awesome. Do you think that that exercise was helpful? You know, really, it's just to make us think a little bit differently about our goals. Okay, so now that we have a vision of where we want to go to, and we have a monetary goal, let's look at what it means for you to achieve that goal through real estate.
I love it.
All right, so there we go. Nice little. It's kind of funny looking dollar bill, right? Nice little dollar bill. So the first thing we need to understand is how our commission actually works. Now, a lot of you guys that have been seasoned agents already understand a lot of this, and for some, it's going to be a good visualization. A lot of new agents, one of the things that we see them happen is they get their first deal. Let's say it's a $10,000 check, and they get this $10,000 check, and they're just like, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" And then they go to the bank and they cash that check, and then they realize, I didn't account for taxes. I didn't account for business expenses. They think that their check is their profit. In reality, we need to take that check and break it, divide it up into a few different people, right? When you go and you do a deal and you get it's a 6% commission, on a listing, you're just like, wow, this is a lot of money. And it is, and it's exciting, but we can get in trouble down the line if we're not planning properly. So if we are, so let's say we get that commission. All right. So if we're in the seller side of the transaction, remember half of that is going to go to the buyer's agent. So already 6%, half of the 6% is already going to the buyer's agent. Once you have your half, you figure about a third of that is going to go to the market center to cover your company dollar, your franchise fee, your royalty, and your monthly fees and everything like that. Then after you pay the market center, another third of that goes back into your business. These are going to be your business expenses. This is going to be your marketing, your operating expenses, your signs, your car, your cell phone, anything that you need to, and anything else that you need to conduct and to grow your business. And then we get our share. All right. Then we get our share, all right? And that's our share, and that's not including taxes. We're still going to have to put money aside for taxes. Otherwise, it gets to the end of the year and your accountant says, oh, by the way, you owe $10,000. You owe $9,000 that you didn't pay throughout the year. So when you do get that little sliver of our commission, okay, remember that take home includes your taxes. So put that money away from your taxes religiously. And, if you're working with a good accountant, they're going to have you pay some taxes quarterly and everything. And you want to do it like that. Otherwise, you're going to get a surprise every year when you if you don't withhold your taxes, and you don't want to plan to do that. All right. So average sales price let's say in Coral Springs is going to be about $350,000, a little more in other areas, a little less in other areas. So we're going to just assume $300,000 as the average sales price, with the average commission, assuming 3%, $9,000. One second. So this number is incorrect. This is not accurate for our market center. Our company dollar is $20,000, not $27,000. Okay, so
thank God.
Yeah, thank God for that, right? So this says $27,000, but our company dollar is $20,000. The most you'll pay in company dollar is $20,000 before you cap. The most that you'll pay in royalty, remember that's 6%. The most you'll pay there is $3,000. So the absolute most you'll pay to Keller Williams is $23,000 over the course of your year. Be happy that you're not in this market center, because that's $30,000. So now what we're going to do is, I'm going to find out if there's a way that we can actually change this so that it's accurate numbers for our market center. So let's start from the top. You can take your net income goal. Let's say you want to make $100,000 this year. You're going to take away the $23,000. I'm sorry. You're going to add the $23,000, which is your company dollar and royalty cap. You're going to figure out how much you're going to have to spend on business expenses. You're going to add those three numbers together, and that's going to be your total GCI that you need to that you need to earn this year in order to hit your net income goal, pay your company dollar, and pay your business expenses. That's going to be your total net GCI. So when someone comes up to me and they say to me, John, I want to earn $100,000 this year, I ask, is that net or gross? Because if it's gross, great, $100,000, and we can set that goal for $100,000. But if you need to walk away and put $100,000 in your bank account, in this example, it looks like it's going to be $180,000. Okay. Then we're going to take that average commission at $9,000, and we're going to divide that by, we're going to take the $180,000, divide that by the $9,000 to let us know how many transactions, how many deals we have to do each year in order to be able to hit the goals that we set for ourselves. I wish this would have been 23,000 instead of 30,000, so we can actually have some more accurate numbers here. But do you get you guys get the concept of what we're trying to do on this?
Yes.
Anna, do you get exactly what we're doing here? No, I know. Anna doesn't like numbers. Anna doesn't like
Never
numbers.
mind. Me and math.
So again, what I'm going to say is another way to look at this is working our way backwards. Okay, if I sell 20 homes at an average commission of $9,000 each deal, that's going to give me $180,000 in gross commission income on the year. Now, I have business expenses that I have to pay in the amount of about $50,000. I have my company dollar and royalty, which is $23,000. Or in this example, $30,000. And then once I pay my company dollar, my royalty, my business expenses, that should give me a net income of $100,000 that I can take to the bank and I can spend and go on vacation with. But a lot of times the agents we don't realize how to make that $100,000 net income goal. We don't know how to bring that into fruition. You want to learn how to do that? Sell 20 homes in this market. For people that are saying, I want to work in an area where I'm only selling $100,000 condos, not a problem. Keep doing you. However, you're going to have to sell 60 homes. If you're working the luxury market and you're paying, your average commission is $30,000-$40,000 per deal. Great. You're going to sell 3 or 4 of those homes, and you'll hit your income goal that you want. But it's good to understand how to do this and understand how those numbers come up and how we actually work those numbers. And for Anna, and for the people.
Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if this is going to be, because I didn't read ahead on this one, and I don't know if this is going to be brought up in the rest of the material, but if you could go back to that dollar bill slide one more time. I just had a thought about that because we talked about how the commission is split and what's spent. And I was thinking about on that second piece, whether you're a buyer's agent or a listing agent or both, the way to increase that sliver on the end. And I think that that's not been covered and you should cover it. How do we increase that sliver on the end? In other words, how do we shorten or reduce our expenses to have more profit at the end of that dollar bill? And I was just thinking about how important it is for us to do our jobs really well when it comes to pricing a home for a listing. That way it sells quickly and we spend less time maintaining, advertising, and marketing that property. Mm-hmm. And then on the buyer's side, how important it is to do a really great job of a needs analysis when it comes to the client, so that we zero in quickly on the property that fits them best. And if we've done that really well, we're going to show a lot less property, and that's going to give us the ability to write a contract on a property very quickly. And again, less time driving around, less of your time spending to find the right home for those people. And that way you can work with more people in your pipeline rather than show homes to somebody for 3 months. So these are 2 ways that you can make sure that your profit stretches longer, or you have more of it by working super effectively, whether it's a listing or whether it's a buyer. And price trumps everything when you've got a listing. If you price it right, you'll sell it quickly. And when you sell it quickly, you're going to have less cost in that process.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Another way to cut down on those, on that one right there, which is the expenses, is lead generate. Lead generating is free. The more we start spending money on Zillow leads and billboards and bus benches and all these things, that's just more money that you don't necessarily have to spend if you're lead generating properly, or lead generating effectively, or lead generating at all for that matter. All right, so no, Mike, that was a great point. Thank you very much. Okay, so like I was saying, we can do all this math, and it's important to know how to figure out how many transactions that we need in order to hit our goal. And for the numerically challenged, like myself and Nana and a couple others that's out there, we can have Command do it easily for us. Okay. So one of the things I'm going to encourage everyone to do is log into Command. You're going to go to the reports icon, and there's going to be something that's going to say set your goals. And you can see on the screen on to the right, you can just put your goals in right over here. Oh, go back. You can put your goals in. How much money do you want to, what year, how much money do you want to make this year? How much are your expenses? How much is your company dollar? All right. And it's going to break everything down for you and tell you how many appointments you need to go on. As long as you're keeping up to date with your opportunities in Command, it's going to show you, it's going to track how many listing appointments you have to go on, how many appointments you've been on, and so forth. So I'm going to strongly recommend that everyone goes in after this call and logs into Command, goes to reports, the reports icon on the left side of the page, and then click goals, and then put your goals in. All right. This is going to break that economic model down to the smallest level so that you know exactly what you need to do. And the best part about this is every time you log into Command from your home screen, this is going to pop up. Your numbers are going to pop up. It's going to tell you you have to go on 4 listing appointments this month and you've only been on 2. And that's going to be that visual reminder of do some work. Right? You set some appointments. All right. Anyone have any questions about putting everything into Command? Besides, how do you actually do it? Awesome. So like I said, so this is the second piece of homework. The first piece of homework is we're going to put together a 4-in-1, and the second piece is going into Command and actually putting in our goal, our monetary goal of what we want, and break everything down into the smallest level so you know what needs to get done. All right. Now, remember, we keep saying doing the activities and lead generating properly. And the point of the conversation is not to be discouraging, but it's to equip you with the reality on how to succeed. And no matter how big your goal, you can achieve it in the real estate business as long as you focus your time and efforts on the right business activities. A lot of there's National Association of Realtors says that about 80 to 85% of the realtors, that people that get their license will be out of business within 2 years, within the first 2 years. Because remember we talked about the other day, they get into the business for freedom, for flexibility, and for money. And they choose freedom and flexibility over the money. They don't want to do the activities that's going to make you lots of money. All right, so you got to focus your time and your time and effort on the right business activities in order to be successful. So we have what's known as the Pareto Principle. This is the 80-20 principle, and the idea is that 20% of our actions lead to 80% of the results that we get, and this applies everywhere. All right, this applies almost in every situation that we know of. 80% of the results 80% of the profit from a market center comes from the same 20% of people. 80% of realtor the sales that happens in a market happens by 20% of the realtors that's there. Let's see here. Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, this is how he actually looked into this back in the 1800s, actually. He realized that 80% of the wealth in Italy was owned by 20% of the population, right? And that's how they came up with the Pareto's principle. And it's so important because we have a lot of tasks and things that we have to do. And we need to think about what are our big rocks? What are the 20%? What are the activities that is going to bring us 80% of our results, 80% of our income? So I want to hear from you guys. What are some of the things that could be in our 20%? What are those top 20% tasks or things that we can do in order to hit that goal?
Lead gen and scripts.
Lead generate is probably the 20% of the 20%. 20%. You know, that's
I agree. Lead generate.
So lead generate, absolutely. What else is in our top 20?
Database management.
Database, okay. Contacting the database more than managing it, right? Actually reaching out to people. What else?
Follow-up.
Lead follow-up, absolutely.
Nurture your inner sphere.
Okay, so, and this is all going back down to lead generating and communicating with their database.
Marketing, like marketing out there. Well, being that we can't do face-to-face, but maybe like with flyers, ads, you know, just communicating out there, you know.
Yeah. So let me take a look at this, because I don't know if I would consider marketing as being in our 20%. All right, and I'll explain why. So in the book, the one thing Gary Keller says, what's the one thing that we can do right now that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? And he asks this question probably like 200 times in this book, and that we call this the focus question. And when we're working on anything, this focus question comes into my head all the time. What's the one thing that I can do right now that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? So let's look at, remember this? Remember this? We see this every day. This is how successful agents spend their time. All right. Now we're trying to identify, of these items, what are the 20% activities that's on here. So we definitely know that lead generating for buyers and sellers is part of our 20%. Going on appointments with sellers or buyers. So I would actually say that number 2 and number 3 is also part of our 20%. How about, so they put on here, attend training and get coaching. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's part of the 20%. However, what I would say is knowing what you have to say. So practicing and learning and understanding and mastering your scripts. That's part of our 20%.
Knowing your inventory.
Knowing the market. So absolutely, you want to know exactly what you have to do and what's going on around you, so you can adapt and overcome that. Absolutely. Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
So Gary Keller says our job description, I think they put it together and found out that there was like 360 tasks that a realtor has to do. That's part of their job description. But he says only 5 of them are the most important things. Do you remember what those 5 things are?
Yes, it's practicing your scripts and role play. It is lead generation, negotiating contracts, going on appointments, listing appointments.
Yeah, so it's going on
buyer appointments. Right.
Yep. It's lead generating, practicing scripts and role play. It's negotiating contracts, going on appointments for buyers and for sellers. Those are the things that we have to do every day. Those actions right there is our 20%. Everything else, the transaction management, vendor management, showing houses, all those other things can be leveraged for somebody else to do. And that's not necessarily part of your 20%. The 20%, and I'm not saying the 80% items are not important. Those are very important things that still need to get done. However, if there was just one thing that you had to put on your calendar as the most important thing, the one thing that you have to do today to make everything else easier or unnecessary, is lead generate. So Griselda, you mentioned marketing. And the reason why I said I'm going to disagree with that being a 20% activity is because if you're lead generating, you don't have to do marketing, right? If you're lead generating, you don't have to do marketing. Mike Trelongo spends very, very, very little money, if any, on the sale, marketing, and getting his home sold, because what he's doing is being very proactive in getting houses priced right the first time, and then he's pushing that out to people that are buying homes right now, and he's very proactive with that. So he can sell a home without spending hundreds of dollars on flyers and postcards and this and this and this and this and that and the other.
Got it.
All right.
I spend money on photos, good photography, make sure that that's really good. And generally nothing else.
Yep.
And I price it exactly correctly for the market. Once those two things are so price trumps everything. There is nothing that you can't fix about a house when you price it properly. Price trumps all. That's the best marketing you can have, is the right price.
Has anyone ever had a billboard? No, neither have I. And I'm not planning on getting one. Okay, because billboards are like $300-400 a day. All right, they're like $300 or $400 a day just to have a billboard up. And if it's nice and glittery, like the one over on 595, right? It probably costs a little bit more than $300 a day. All right, and if they were to make telephone calls, that's being more proactive versus putting a billboard out there or a bus bench, your picture on a bus bench. That's being very reactive. That is saying, I'm going to put this out there and hope people are going to come to us. And in a shifting market more than ever, we want to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced, not marketing based and prospecting enhanced. We want to be focused on the prospecting. So lead generating for buyers and sellers, that is our number one thing. That's our number one job description. That should be in your calendar, time blocked in your calendar every single day, Monday through Friday, is how many hours you can be lead generating. You have to put that into your database. Otherwise, like Brizelda said earlier, life is going to happen and we're going to forget to do our lead generating. All right. So we talked about our big rocks. We talked, and the big rocks being the most important things, the 20%. Now we're going to talk about how we can ensure that we do the activities. And with Keller Williams, we have this this tool called the 411. And the 411 is 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. Okay, I'm going to show you exactly how to get to this. Give me 1 second. So if you go to the MyKW page, you go to resources, 411 tools. You have a couple different 411s here. You have one for business, you have one for personal, and you have a combined one.
Where is that again, John? Sorry.
So from the MyKW page, mykw.kw.com.
Yep.
You're going to go up to resources.
Got it.
And then 411 tools.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now, I'll tell you, and this is being fully transparent, my first year and a half, I did not work off of a 411. And I thought, yeah, I could just have a whiteboard in my office and that should be enough. And I'm just going to track my goals in my head and maybe keep a spreadsheet somewhere. And I wasn't hitting my numbers. Once I started actually implementing a 411 and writing down the activities and tracking what I need to do every week in order to be successful, all of a sudden I started taking control of my business. Okay, I've been using a 411 religiously for the last 3 years, and it really helped me to, like I said, take control of my business. All right, so how we want to start this? We want to put, and this is going to go back to our big life activity that we did earlier. You're going to want to figure out what you want for the year, what you need for the year, and you're going to write that. Oh, where is it? No, go back. You're going to write that that annual goal right here. Maybe it's I want to hit $180,000 in GCI this year. You're going to put what your annual goals are. And then you're going to decide what do I have to do each month in order to hit that annual goal. Now, some people might say, that means take my annual goal and divide it by 12. That's one way to do it. I like to take my annual goal and divide it by 10. Because what I'm doing is planning 8 weeks of vacation for myself. 8 weeks, I'm planning 2 months a year where I'm not working. Now, it's not gonna be 2 months all at one time, but I'm planning my vacation first. I'm planning my personal time. I'm planning my personal time first. So I'd break everything down into 10 months. That also allows me a little bit of flexibility in case we have, I don't know, a pause in the industry, or maybe a little coronavirus quarantine, hits, and it kind of disrupts my business for 10 months or for 2 months. This will still allow me to do the activities that I need over the other 10 months of the year and still hit my numbers. Okay, so I like to do, my monthly goal is my annual divided by 10. And if I hit that monthly goal every single month, what's the worst that happens? I make more money. What's the worst that happens? I make more money, or I hit my goal earlier and then I can take some more time off. Okay. So we're going to take, our goal is for simplicity, because I said I'm numerically challenged. So we're going to say $120,000 because it's easy numbers. $120,000 is my annual goal. My monthly goal is $10,000 a month if I'm dividing it by 12. Okay. Now I got to decide, what are the activities that I have to do every week in order to hit $10,000 a month? So what do those activities look like? That might be contact 40 people each week, lead generate for 4 hours a day. That might be going on setting 3 listing appointments a week. That might be setting 1 listing appointment a week. Your annual goal is going to be your annual goal. Your monthly goal is going to be your annual divided by 10 or divided by 12. Your weekly goals, make that be activity based. So that way, when you wake up on a Monday morning, you're ready to go to work. You went on your morning walk. You already had your breakfast. You're ready to get started. You sit down at your desk. What do I need to do this week? You look at your 411 and say, I need to call 40 people today. I need to lead gen for 3 hours. I need to set 2 appointments. And by doing that, I'm going to hit my $10,000 monthly goal. And by hitting my $10,000 monthly goal, I'm going to hit my $120,000 annual goal. Forget about the 120. Focus on what you can do right now. What's the one thing that you can do right now that makes everything else easier or unnecessary? And that is hit your weekly and your daily goal. You want to know the best way to hit your monthly goals? Hit your weekly goals. The best way to hit your weekly goals is by winning the day. You win the day, you're going to win the week. You win the week, you're going to win the month. You win the 10 or 12 months, you're going to win that year. You're going to hit that goal. You're going to have that restaurant. All right. You're going to be able to have pay off your student loan debt. You're going to be able to have that money to be able to provide for your mother, or to provide for your children, or pay your child's college without them having to worry about financial aid or student loans or anything like that. So I'm going to strongly suggest that everyone does this. Actually, no, I'm not going to strongly suggest. This is your homework for the weekend, is put this together. Okay. But it's more than just coming out with your financial goal. All right. Going back up here, it's look at that activity we did, the big picture exercise, big life earlier.
How's everything going?
Okay. So, hi Lucy, you just got muted. So it's not just your financial goal, it's other goals. Go back to that big life vision and look at those other boxes, and you could say, what do I have to do for each box this year? All right. And then put that annual goal up here, and then see, what do I have to do each month? And then what are the activities that I have to do each week?
You know what I like about this is that something that looks so huge now, it looked smaller, not small, but achievable, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, it's you turn around and you tell someone, you know, if you said you want to challenge that guy Justin Orlando and you want to make $291,000 like he did, you might say, wow, that's a really scary goal. However, when you chunk it down to the weekly, you might find out that that might mean, by the way, it does mean you need to go on 2 listing appointments a week. What would it look like? I'm sorry. You want to know what the secret to netting $1 million in this business is? One net after business, after expenses and everything. To net $1 million in a year, you have to set and go on 7 appointments a day. 7 appointments a day. I saw Anna just say, wow. All right. 7 appointments a day. That doesn't mean necessarily you, because you're going to have a team. At that point, you're having people work with you. Okay. But there's a plan in order to net $1 million. Now, our goal for this year may not be to net $1 million. Maybe it's just net 100,000. Maybe it's net 60, whatever. And if you chunk it down all the way to the lowest level, figure out what you need to do each week, figure out what you need to do each day, and then hit those. You're chunking it down. What's the best way to eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. All right. And that's exactly how we're going to do it. So you should set on here for your annual goals, set multiple goals. I have on my 4-in-1, my monetary goal. I have how many people I want to have in the productivity coaching program. I have on there how much weight I want to lose. I have on there how much of my bills that I want to have paid off by the end of the year. All right. So I have several different annual goals, several different monthly goals, and then I have it all broken down here on the bottom. All right. And then you not only look at this, so a lot of people will set these up at the beginning of the year and then they'll never look at it again. The secret is you have to actually have this out in front of you always and look at this all the time and then update it regularly. And you never change your annual goals, because that's what we said we were going to do. We changed the activities that's going to help us hit our annual goals. So if I have an annual goal of setting 2 appointments a week, and then this week I didn't set any appointments, next week I still have to hit the 2 that I said I was going to hit each week, but I also have to make up the 2 that I didn't do this week. So now for week 2, I now have to set 4 appointments. Hold yourself accountable. And when you have a coach, and for those that's in the pro coaching program, we're going to ask for these, and I want to see these. That's why we ask to report numbers, because not only do we need to have a plan, we need to have accountability. We need to have accountability. So I'm going to suggest that if you have a coach, share your 4-in-1 with your coach. If you don't have a coach, call me or Mike and get a coach. And if you don't want that, find someone that's going to hold you accountable and say, hello friend, hello child, hello next door neighbor, please be my accountability partner. Here's my goals. And I want you to hold me accountable to my goals. And then we say, don't lose focus on what we want to do and why we're doing it, right? The reality of this business is that the day-to-day life of successful agents is very repetitive, okay? However, they know, the top agents, they know the routine, and they know that routine produces the results that they need to live the life that they want. And often there's enough to make them love the grind. There are many of you in the room who, once you start seeing your work pay off, you'll love it. You'll love getting into lead generating. You'll love sitting down and making calls. You talk to John Dietz, he's like, I absolutely love making calls, and I want to get the hardest objections because it becomes a challenge to me. He loves getting those making those calls because he saw success in it. You're going to start to enjoy honing your systems and the skills so that you can compete at the highest level. And then there's some of you guys that will just never love the grind, and that's okay too. It doesn't mean that you're doomed to fail. Even the ones that love making these calls and love pushing yourself to that next level. So even some of you guys that love it are going to have days where you need to give yourself a little bit more of a push than normal. All right, so now I'm going to give you, for any time we start hitting those roadblocks, I'm going to give you a tool in order to remind you of why you're doing what you want to do. Now, it might seem silly. It might seem silly the first couple times you're doing it, but it's a crucial part of building a career worth having, business worth owning, and lives worth living. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. This is an affirmations. This is an affirmation worksheet for you. All right. At the bottom, where it says your turn, right over here. I want for everyone to write this down. I'm blank. I'm doing the activity. I'm making 20 calls a day. I'm lead generating for 3 hours a day. But be specific. I want you to actually put a business activity. So right, I'm lead generating for 3 hours a day. I'm setting 2 appointments every day. Then the next line is to provide or support, and then put in that cause. Put in that person or that cause that you did on that big life exercise we did earlier. And then buy, meaning what did you want to do for that person? Alan, you said you wanted to be able to support your mom by providing for her financially so that she doesn't have to work or have to worry about anything. Then the last one is because I want to fill in the blank. So I like the example that they have up here is I'm making this telephone call to provide for my parents by paying off their home because they supported and provided for me, and I want to enable them to retire with confidence. Alan, that kind of sounds exactly like what you said, right?
Exactly.
That sounds exactly what you said. So I'm filling the business activity to provide support for the person or cause by what your money or time will allow you to do, because I want to state why you want to invest time and more money in this person or cause. And what you'll have here is an affirmation. And you write this down, print it up in front of you, and say this every day before you get on your telephone calls.
I need this to print out so I can just stick it right in front of me.
Absolutely. Griselda, you gave a couple pretty good examples over here. So by following this model or this formula, tell me what your affirmation sounds like.
My affirmation is that I am making these calls and I'm going to book appointments and listings because I want to provide for my mother. I want to leave a legacy for my generation, and to, like I said, to also help people that came from a broken background, because that's what I want to do. I really want to make this happen. I want to see, I definitely want to contribute. I want to give back.
Yeah.
And I need to always remember that, because sometimes you get stuck. I need to pay the bill. Will this be enough? No. I want to think bigger. I can't have this limiting thinking anymore. Drunken monkey, bye.
Yeah. So what I want you to do, you said you want to provide for them and so forth. I want you to be specific on this. All right. I want you to be specific on this. So you said I'm making calls and lead generating, setting appointments. How many calls?
I want to make at least 20 calls a day.
Okay, so I'm not going to say, so I'm making 20 calls a day.
I'm making 20 calls a day.
To provide for, you said, for your mom.
For my mother.
Okay. And sorry, the dog's barking in the back. Right. So you're making 20 calls a day to provide for your mom by
supporting her with a stipend.
How much specific?
A monthly stipend for $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month.
Because you want to what?
because I want to make sure that she is blessed like the way she has blessed me. I want her to be happy, comfortable, travel the world, do whatever she wants with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you make it specific. I
Very
want to make 20 calls by doing to provide my mother, by providing $1,500 a month to her, because I want to make her feel comfortable and not have to worry about this, that, or the other. Right. And then, yeah, you're right. Have that in front of you when you're wherever you're making your telephone calls. Have that tattooed on your arm if you want, whatever. Right. But this becomes your guiding principle. This is your big why. All right. Does anyone else have, would like to share their great job, though, Brazilla? Does anyone else have any the affirmation that they'd like to share?
John, I was thinking about maybe we can incorporate an exercise that we had from Bold in this group, where we wrote out our goals for the year and mailed them out. Because what you're talking about with the goals there is very much, it's one thing, but putting it out there into the universe and doing this sheet is much like that example. And you know how powerful that can be when you get your letter back a year later and you see that you've achieved some of those things that you've set out, and you can limit it to 10 or you can make it 20. But seeing that you've achieved those things, I think is exercise in putting it out there in the universe. And so when we put it out there, things happen. When we just keep it inside or don't actually put it on our goal sheet, there's probably a lower chance that you're going to achieve those things without writing them down.
I agree. And I think that's a great idea. And we're not going to have time to do that today, but I definitely agree that's something we can possibly do, because I think it is a great exercise. All right. Accountable people achieve results others can only dream of. That's also a quote from The One Thing. All right. So like I said, if you have a coach, I want everyone to put together their 4-in-1, and I want you to share your 4-in-1 with your coach. If you don't have a coach and you want a coach, myself and Michael are we're glad to help. And if you don't have a coach and you don't want a coach, give this to someone that cares about you. Alan, you're shaking your head.
We all need a coach.
Everyone needs a coach, exactly. Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. I mean, the greats. Every single person had every great has a coach behind them. All right, but and a great coach is not only going to help you see things in yourself that you can't see, but they're going to help to hold you accountable to the goals that you set for yourself. They're not setting goals for you. We're helping to hold you accountable to the goals you set for yourself. The worst thing you could do is take your 4-in-1 and put it in the stack of papers on your desk and let it get lost. You're not even being held accountable to yourself. Okay.
John,
Yes?
is it always the same link we provide our activities of the last week? Is it always the same place so we can get those lists?
That's the same. That's the same link each week. Yep.
Okay.
She's talking about for the productivity coaching. All right.
Okay.
It's okay. Two pieces of homework. One, everyone put together a 4-in-1 that has multiple goals on there, what you want to do within the next 12 months. The second, and then bring that to us on Monday, or shoot that as an email to me. I definitely want to see that because I'm going to be asking for it on Monday. So just do it this weekend and send it over to me. All right. And the other thing is go into Command and set your goals in Command. Actually put that into Command so that that's in front of you as a daily reminder in Command, so you see what has to happen every day.
Can you walk us one more time where to find that circle thing in Command? Because I wanted to jump in quickly and do it, and then I lost myself.
Yeah, no problem. So from the My KW page,
okay,
you go up to Resources.
Uh-huh.
Wait, nope, sorry, wrong thing. Let's go to Command.
Okay.
All right, so this will actually show you where all of our goals are right here in Command.
Okay.
Let me see something. say click reports. Then you can click goals.
Okay, reports and then
And then goal settings.
goals.
And it's going to break everything down for you. It's going to show you where all your reports are going to be in here. It's going to break down exactly what you need to do in order to hit your goal.
I'm excited.
Absolutely. And the great part is you have an entire weekend to think about this and plan it. All right.
Oh, fantastic.
Guys, this is all that I have. I know we ran a little bit over on time again today. Like I said, remember, this isn't a lab, and we're still trying to figure out how to get this. It's supposed to be done within an hour, right? And we're seeing that it's taking about 90 minutes each class. So, and we just want to make sure that you really, really grasp the concepts and everything like that. But one last thing, I want to close out on a positive note. I want to hear 3 good ahas or some things that we're going to implement today or this weekend, so that we can end this call on a positive note. Give me 3 ahas.
Just the morning affirmations, you know, repeating them to yourself every day. It seems silly, but that putting it out there every day, it really makes sense. Trusting faith in the process, really, you know, it's all a process. You just got to have faith through it. And deconstructing your goal, your big goal, into make it small, obtainable goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't never underestimate the power of those affirmations. And it's not even necessarily just a morning affirmation. That is you're sitting there in front of your phone and in front of your computer and like, I have to make calls. I don't want to make telephone calls. I don't know what to do. I'm hitting that roadblock. I'm feeling paralyzed. Wait a second. I'm making 20 calls each day so that I could support my mother by being able to give her $1,500 a month stipend so that she can feel confident and comfortable and live the life that she wants to live. Okay, that's your reminder. And that's what's going to push you to do everything you have to do. All right?
Well, my ahas moments for today was think big. Also, lead generate and make a goal chart.
Love it.
For me today.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So thank you.
Excellent.
For me, it's, you know, having that I've gone through bowl, I do have my GPS and 411. I need to take a look at it again and not necessarily reduce it, but just make certain it's more aligned with where I am today.
Yep.
And also to take a look at it more often than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And make certain that I'm on track and adjust accordingly.
Yep. Yep. And you should look at your GPS and your 411. You should have it out in front of you every day. I actually have in my calendar every Sunday to plan my week. And part of planning my week is reviewing my 411 and making sure that that's updated for the week. All right. Guys, thank you so much for a great session. We're going to have this recorded and it's going to be posted onto Facebook. But thank you very much. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing weekend. Relax and kind of spend some time sharpening the saw, taking care of yourself. Okay.
Thank you. You too.
Absolutely. Guys, have a great weekend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. You're the best.
Absolutely, brother.
Thank you, John. Very good class.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.